What if the most productive move you make this week isn't about doing more, but about giving yourself permission to do things differently? Welcome to episode 9 of the Productive AF podcast and newsletter, where we don't just chase checklists, we chase real progress. I'm Jen, and today we're flipping the script on productivity, leadership, and what it means to show up as your most effective, inclusive self, even when the world throws you curveballs. In this episode, I'll share the mindset shift that's changed how I lead, the ally framework that's powering high-performing teams, and a challenge that could transform the way you work, at the office, at home, or wherever you're leading from. Ready to pivot with purpose? Let's get into it. I hope this week finds you organized, energized, and ready to make meaningful progress, whatever that looks like for you right now. In this edition, I'm excited to share 2 powerful tools: an exclusive interview with science leader and financial advisor and coach Natalie Beard, and my signature ally framework for inclusive leadership. Both are designed to help you lead with intention, create impact, and stay productive AF in a world that's constantly changing. If there's one thing this summer has taught me, it's that true productivity is less about rigid routines and more about resilience, adaptability, and giving ourselves permission to pivot. Whether you're managing a business, a household, or both, the ability to adapt is the real superpower. Here's how this played out for me recently. Earlier this week, I caught myself reverting back to my old mindset of hustle and grind. I found my calendars at work and at home were filling up, and I was starting to feel the squeeze of too many deadlines, but not enough time, and the stress that comes with that. But then I had this amazing podcast recording session with Natalie Beard, who reminded me that it's okay to rest. And I remembered how much of my old hustle culture days were a recipe for burnout and illness. I realized it was time for ruthless prioritization, reschedule or drop the things that don't bring me closer to my goals. And my health and my mental well-being are high on that list of goals. Not that we should ever need someone else's permission to pivot, but sometimes it helps to have the reminder and the validation from someone you admire. What's one belief about productivity that you're ready to let go of? Hit reply or leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Reflecting on these moments reminds me that productivity isn't just about checking boxes. It's about aligning our daily actions with what truly matters, especially when life feels unpredictable. That's where having a reliable framework becomes invaluable. By translating hard-earned lessons into repeatable systems, we can move from overwhelm to intentional progress, even on the busiest days. With that in mind, let's dive into this week's featured framework, a practical tool I've refined through both my professional journey and personal experiments. I'm excited to share how you can make it your own. This week, I'm pulling back the curtain on a leadership tool I've used in both the corporate world and as a parent, the ally framework. In today's workplace and life, inclusive leadership isn't just a buzzword. It's a competitive advantage. Here's how you can put it into practice, no matter your role. The ally framework for inclusive leadership that drives productivity and business results. Ally, A-L-L-Y. A is for acknowledge, L is for listen, L is for learn, and Y is for yield space. Let's break it down. A, acknowledge differences. What it means. Recognize and honor the unique perspectives, backgrounds, and lived experiences people bring, whether in your team, your family, or your online community. Why does this matter for productivity? This unlocks new ideas and prevents blind spots that stall progress. In practice, this could look like starting meetings with a quick culture check-in, spotlighting team members' achievements from diverse backgrounds, or simply acknowledging holidays and events that matter to others. How organizations are doing it. Many companies like LinkedIn and Microsoft use inclusion moments at the start of meetings to set the tone and intentionally recognize diversity. L is for listen deeply. What does it mean? Go beyond surface level feedback. Practice active listening, ask open questions, pause before responding, and make space for voices that aren't always heard. Why does this matter for productivity? Deep listening uncovers untapped insights and surfaces hidden obstacles, enabling faster, smarter decision making with less rework. In practice, in meetings, use a round robin approach to ensure that everyone speaks. In family discussions, paraphrase what you've heard to confirm understanding. How organizations do it. Salesforce and Google train managers in active listening labs, where leaders practice withholding judgment and reflecting back what they hear. The second L is for learn continuously. What it means. Commit to ongoing education about identities, systemic barriers, and your own blind spots. It takes vulnerability and humility to admit that there are things that you don't know or need to relearn. Why it matters for productivity. Continuous learning keeps teams agile and future ready, ensuring you adapt to change quickly and outpace complacent competitors. In practice, this could look like attending workshops, reading books by people outside your usual circles, or asking colleagues about their lived experiences with permission and respect. How are organizations doing this? Many companies offer reverse mentoring, where senior leaders learn directly from junior employees with different backgrounds. The why means yield space. What that means is leadership isn't about taking up all the oxygen in the room. Sometimes it's about stepping back and letting others shine, especially those who've historically been overlooked. Why does this matter for productivity? Yielding space empowers others to contribute their strengths, accelerating execution and reducing bottlenecks by distributing ownership. In practice, this can look like delegating high visibility projects, rotating meeting facilitation, or explicitly inviting quieter voices to share their insights. How are organizations doing this? Slack and Accenture use step up, step back norms, encouraging those who speak often to pause and those who rarely do to contribute. You'll see an infographic with the Ally framework in the show notes, but here's how to put it into action. Before your next meeting or conversation, review my Ally checklist, which I've linked for free download. Then set an intention. Which pillar do you want to focus on today? During the interaction, acknowledge, open with gratitude for everyone's presence and unique perspectives. Listen, practice wait time, count to 5 before responding, and then ask, who haven't we heard from yet? Learn. If you make a misstep, own it. Say, I hadn't thought of it that way. Thank you for sharing. And yield. Pass the mic. Invite someone else to lead a segment or share their story. Afterward, reflect. What did you notice? Where did you feel challenged? What did you learn? Then request feedback. Ask someone you trust. Did you feel included? What could I do better next time? And then document your takeaways. Here's a bonus team or family challenge. So rotate the ally role. Each week, someone new is responsible for ensuring the framework is practiced. Share wins and lessons learned in your next gathering. And here's a pro tip. Inclusive leadership is a muscle. Consistency matters more than perfection. Even small intentional changes in your approach can transform the sense of belonging and engagement in your community. Want to go deeper? Download the Ally Framework checklist that I've linked and start your own reflection log. Tag me or Productive AF with your stories if you're posting it on social media. We want to see you putting Ally into action. Are you curious how this framework could transform your work, your family, or online community? Hit reply or leave a comment and let me know which pillar you're working on or where you're stuck. I love hearing your stories. And here's an action step. This week's Productive AF challenge. First, choose your arena. Is it work, home, or community? And then practice. Ask for input from someone different. Notice what shifts for you or for your team. And then share. Tell us how the challenge went for you. And here's a real AF win. After recording the podcast with Natalie Beard and creating the Ally framework, I reflected on why these are important to me and how they apply to productivity. Allyship isn't just the right thing to do. It's a productivity superpower. When you lead inclusively, you unlock the full potential of every brain in the room, reduce friction, and create a culture where people are motivated to do their best work. That's the productive AF way. So, why inclusive leadership drives productivity and business results? 1. Diverse perspectives equal better decisions and faster execution. This is research backed. McKinsey, Deloitte, and Harvard Business Review consistently find that diverse and inclusive teams make 2 times faster decisions with half the meetings. They're also more likely to innovate and outperform financially. Here's the mechanism. When leaders actively acknowledge and listen to diverse voices, which are our first 2 pillars of Ally, they surface more ideas, spot risks sooner, and avoid costly groupthink. This means less time wasted on rework or missed opportunities. 2. Psychological safety boosts engagement and accountability. What does that mean? When people are safe to share, challenge, and contribute because their leaders acknowledge differences and yield space, they're more likely to take initiative and own results. Here's the business impact. Google's Project Aristotle found psychological safety was the #1 predictor of high-performing teams. Inclusive leaders foster this by practicing ally behaviors, leading to higher engagement, lower turnover, and more discretionary effort. 3. Inclusive environments reduce friction and burnout. How? When everyone knows their voice matters and processes are transparent, which are the listen and learn pillars of our framework, there's less second guessing, less politicking, and fewer misunderstandings. This streamlines collaboration, reduces conflict, and frees up energy for meaningful work. The result? Teams spend less time managing up or navigating office politics and more time on high-impact tasks. 4. Broader talent pool and higher retention. Inclusive leadership attracts and retains top talent. When you acknowledge and yield space for all, you're more likely to hire and keep high performers from underrepresented groups, leading to more robust, resilient teams that can adapt to change. And here's a stat. Inclusive companies are 1.7 times more likely to be innovation leaders in their market. And 5, empathy drives customer centricity. Externally, leaders who practice allyship are better attuned to the needs of diverse customers and markets, leading to products and services that resonate more widely. And here's a case study. Companies like Microsoft and Procter & Gamble credit their inclusive leadership cultures for breakthrough products designed with broader audiences in mind. Here's some practical tie-ins for productive AF readers and listeners. For our leaders, use the Ally framework to run more efficient, action-oriented meetings. When everyone feels heard, you get buy-in faster and execution improves. For teams, inclusive practices minimize the meeting after the meeting and back channeling, so projects move forward with fewer delays. And then for our entrepreneurs or solos, practicing allyship with your clients, collaborators, and even your audience builds trust, and trust accelerates decision-making and referrals. Here are a couple of prompts to reflect on. What's one small productivity or leadership win that you're celebrating? Hit reply or comment and share. I might feature your story in a future issue. Try tracking how many unique voices you hear in your next meeting. Did you notice more ideas, faster decisions, or less follow-up needed? That's the ally effect in action. I've got some tools and resources for you that I'll link in the show notes. I've linked my full podcast with Natalie Beard called Permission to Pivot, which shows how she leads with courage and inclusion. In that episode, Natalie Beard and I dive deep into what it means to lead through change, embrace our evolving identities and create spaces where everyone can thrive. Natalie's insights on courage, authenticity, and inclusion are a must listen for anyone looking to lead and live with more intention. I've linked the highlight reel for you if you'd like a sneak peek. And here are the top 3 takeaways from that podcast for me. 1. Embrace authenticity. Your story matters. Rip the Band-Aid off and be yourself, Natalie said. And her journey shows that confidence and momentum start with showing up as your true self. No filters and no apologies. 2. Invest in self-love and support systems. Things like journaling, self-reflection, and curating your circle are not just buzzwords. They're the foundation for breaking old patterns and building a life on your own terms. 3. Give yourself permission to pivot. Redefine success as you evolve. Natalie's story reminds us it's never too late to change direction, pursue financial freedom, or design a life that actually fits. I've also linked a book recommended by Natalie called Atomic Habits. And then as our resource of the week, I've provided a link to download for free my Ally Framework Checklist and Reflection Guide. That's a tool you can use to audit your own inclusive leadership practices and set new goals for the coming month. And then I've also linked some references for future leading. These are some articles that I have referenced in this podcast that you can read for yourself. And now a look ahead. Thank you for moving forward with me, one intentional step at a time. Next week, we'll dive deeper into inclusive leadership with 5 ways leaders can champion inclusion. I'll share some more helpful frameworks, and I'll be teasing an exciting new voice joining our upcoming podcast. So stay tuned. You won't want to miss this one. Your feedback and curiosity shape this community. If there's a challenge you're facing or a productivity topic you want to see unpacked, just hit reply or comment. Every message is read. Every voice matters. Here's to leading with clarity, showing up with intention, and always bringing the unapologetic AF energy. Until next time.